Fountain is inviting the general public to participate in the DPSU's rally, carried for the 16th of March 2017 at the union's headquarters in Roseau, Dominica. In the region, the Antigua and Barbuda Tourism Authority has stepped up advertising efforts in the United Kingdom ahead of the traditional April sales period to increase summer business for the Twin Island destination. We felt the need to create a boost in summer 2017 bookings from the United Kingdom ahead of the usual April advertising period and decided to work with one of our largest tour operator partners in the United Kingdom, Virgin Holidays, said Antigua and Barbuda Tourism Authority CEO Colin C. James. This initiative of the Antigua and Barbuda Tourism Authority has seen Virgin Holidays launch their first ever shop takeover across all Virgin Holidays 100 stores in the United Kingdom. And voters are going to the polls in the Netherlands in the first of 3 crucial Eurozone elections this year. The race is dominated by Prime Minister Mark Rutte's centre-right party and that of Mr. Wilders, running on an anti-immigration platform. Mr. Rutte has said the election is an opportunity for voters to beat the wrong sort of populism. Mr. Wilders has pledged to take the Netherlands out of the EU, close all mosques, and ban the Quran. His Freedom Party had been leading in opinion polls, but they have since suggested his support may be slipping. And that concludes your morning news update, brought to you compliments Dominica Burrian Beverages Limited and Digicel. I am Richie Farrell with the Q95 News team, wishing you a very pleasant morning. Stay tuned to the big station Q95.
Bring them in, I say, bring them in. Yes, the bottles are coming, and we are happy. Menupaka where the Guinness, the Shandy, and the Malta bottles. Pity fee. Yes, continue menese bouteille la bière one tray, but where are the Guinness, the Shandy, and the Malta? Mem consi la bière, every 24 empty $6, and every full crate is $10. Will I oye? Under the potage, in the storeroom, under the cellar, under a step, in the drain, the grass, the highways, the byways. Find them with you, and bring them in. Bring the empty ones, and get your money.
Text Top Up and Win. Text Top Up and Win. A supermarket shopping spree valued at $10,000. Text the letters SHOP to 7171 or top up $10 or more for your chance to be one of 2 to win your share in Digicel's $10,000 supermarket shopping spree. Other prizes include DL smartphones, free data, free credit, and more. Text Top Up and Win in Digicel's $10,000 shopping spree. Promotion ends March 31.
Somebody in St. Martin celebrating their birthday today. That's your song of choice. Happy birthday.
It feels just a little bit bigger now. Our song on the radio, but it don't sound the same.
Health Vibes coming up next on your favorite station, the big station.
All it does is just tear me down.
I'll be back here in the afternoon.
'Cause my heart breaks a little when I hear your name. It all just sounds like too young, too dumb to realize that I should have bought you flowers and held your hand. Should have gave you all my hours when I had the chance. Take you to every party, 'cause all you wanted to do was dance. Now my baby's dancing, but she's dancing with another man. My pride, my ego, my needs, and my selfish ways caused a good, strong woman like you to walk out my life. Now I'll never get to clean up the mess I made. Oh, and that haunts me every time I close my eyes. It all just sounds like too young, too dumb to realize mistakes, but I just want you to know. I hope he buys you flowers. I hope he holds your hand, give you all his hours when he has the chance. Take you to every party, 'cause I remember how much you loved to dance. Do all the things I should have done when I same bed, but it feels just a little bit bigger now. Our song on the radio, but it don't sound the same. When our friends talk about you, all it does is just tear me down. 'Cause my heart breaks a little when I hear your name. It all just sounds like too young, too dumb to realize that I should have bought you flowers and held your hand. Should have gave you all my hours when I had the chance. Take you to every party, 'cause all you wanted to do was dance. Now my baby's dancing, but she's dancing with another man. My pride, my ego, my needs, and my selfish ways caused a good, strong woman like you to walk out my life. Now I'll never get to clean up the mess I made. Oh, and that haunts me every time I close my eyes. It all just
This episode of Health Vibes is brought to you by the brand you trust the most, Jolly's Pharmacy Limited, leading the way in health care.
I woke up this morning feeling real stink. I had the intentions to call in sick, but I end up in Jolly's Pharmacy. Great and down, you just treat Jolly's fix up my immune system. Got me feeling fit and strong, now I'm ready to work and take on any mission. If you see me walking, Jolly's Pharmacy is number one. Jolly's walking. We cater for everyone. Jolly's walking. Boost up your immune system. Jolly's walking. Yo, Dominica, say boy, Father Fox. Whenever I'm in town and I'm feeling down, I head to Jolly's Pharmacy. They boost me up real quick. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Jolly's Pharmacy presents a new and innovative radio program, Health Vibes. Health Vibes. Every Wednesday morning on Q95 FM. Health Vibes. Hosted by Carlton Lando and Pearl Fontaine Butler. Health Vibes from 10:15 to 11 a.m. It's not just your average talk show. It's appealing and educational with a bit of humor. Real vibes on your health. Now, that's the vibe. Health Vibes on Q95 every Wednesday from 10:15 to 11 a.m. with Pearl and Carlton. Tune in.
Welcome to Health Vibes, Dominica's most foremost program on health, medicine, nutrition, and wellness, featuring the latest news on conventional and alternative medicine and health care. Now, here's your host, Carlton Lando, and co-host, Pearl Fontaine Butler.
Good morning to you, Dominica. We are so happy that you have joined us on another episode of Health Vibes. This calm, beautiful Wednesday morning. A bit wet on the outside, but the sun is trying to do its thing. I think we are so blessed to have sunshine and rain at the same time. Many people are now hearing of the massive snowstorm that's happening up north, and I don't think none of us want to be in New York or Boston or anywhere in the US right now that is experiencing that type of weather.
But what's amazing too is that in South Africa there had been a drought and they had been praying for rain, and now there is so much rain there, so we just have to give God thanks.
We just have to give God thanks. Pearl, I have some very, very good news to share that we have gotten a partner to be a part in terms of sponsoring the program, Health Vibes. And so first domestic in terms of its the Tong group of companies, they've now come on board as one of the main sponsors of Health Vibes. So
wow, that's
we
incredible.
truly want to thank the team there, Mr. Edwards and his entire staff for really recognizing that it's an effort by all of us to ensure that our people are healthier, they are better informed through credible information as it relates to health and wellness, and would recognize the importance of such a program to want to invest money into it. And so we truly want to really recognize Tong group of companies for coming on board Health Vibes. We also have some amazing activity that's going to be happening this Friday, and that is the Dominica Rotary Club. So the Rotary Club of Dominica is having a public health fair at the forecourt of the Windsor Park Stadium from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Friday, March the 17th. And so this is this Friday, and they're looking at the theme Know Your Risk. The NCD threat is real. That is the non-chronic disease threat is real. And so they are looking at informing you, educating you, having some health screening and counseling as well on that day. Many people will be taking part in this amazing activity. Charlie's will be part of it this
and we
coming
also
Friday
encourage
as well.
you to turn out, because your health is your responsibility. And we must be prudent in that. So good morning. Good morning, Carlton, and good morning to our wonderful listeners today.
Yes.
So in the news in the region, syphilis cases a concern for Barbados health authorities. Health authorities in Barbados are urging residents to educate themselves more about sexually transmitted infections as the island deals with an outbreak of syphilis. Senior Medical Officer Dr. Anton Best, who released the results of a detailed analysis of an outbreak of syphilis, stated that the Ministry of Health first raised the alarm in July 2013 and commenced a health education campaign to increase awareness about STIs so more people would be tested. He said that the outbreak was first detected in 2013 and the ministry immediately put systems in place to improve syphilis surveillance in Barbados. According to Best, the study revealed a significant increase in the number of syphilis cases between 2011 and 2013. However, the outbreak stabilized in 2014 and 2015. Now, men, I need you to listen, because the majority of cases occurred in men, which was 72%, and nearly 3/4 of cases occurred in individuals between the ages of 15 and 49, with the average age of a syphilis case being 34 years. The study also examined the potential for syphilis being transmitted to babies and looked at syphilis testing trends among pregnant women. Dr. Best said the study found that very high proportions of pregnant women, more than 95%, were screened for syphilis during pregnancy. The health official explained that syphilis could cause serious health problems if not treated. Syphilis can be spread by direct contact with a syphilis sore during vaginal, anal, or oral sex. Sores can be found on or around the penis, vagina, or anus, or in the rectum, or on the lips, or in the mouth. Syphilis can also be spread from an infected mother to her unborn baby. Dr. Best stressed to abstain from vaginal, anal, or oral sex, and that people who were sexually active could reduce their chances of getting syphilis by being in a long-term, mutually monogamous relationship with a partner who has tested negative for syphilis. He also advocated the proper use of latex condoms during sex. Now, this is frightening, as Barbados is obviously our neighbor. And we really have to look at the trends and the things that are happening in our neighboring islands, because, you know, at some point it could affect us or be a problem here. Carlton, what are your thoughts?
I mean, when I read the story yesterday on Facebook, because Dr. Bess is a friend of mine, I actually messaged him immediately and asked him what's happening. Because, I mean, we know of syphilis cases. I mean, we have a few popping up in and out, you know, in Dominica. Let me begin by saying that syphilis is an STI, a sexually transmitted infection. However, it is one of the sexually transmitted infections that has a cure. And so the good thing is that there is a cure, and the cure is really penicillins, but it's usually given through an injection. So you would normally get 3 shots, 1 shot per week. It's one of the most painful injections, I must say. And so sometimes clients have difficulty taking the injection. It has to be done on the buttocks, and you get 1 shot once a week for 3 consecutive weeks, and then you are evaluated. There is a specific test that we do for the syphilis, which is an RPR test. That test has to be done through a blood test. It's sent to the lab, and if the result comes out positive, then you would have to be treated. Usually what we would see is that you would find what they call a very raw sore on the genitalia, which is painless. And that's the thing about it. It doesn't cause any pain, but it just remains there. May ooze a little water, and it just remains there. It could be a bit embarrassing. We always say to people, if you have seen that, you definitely need to have it evaluated immediately.
Now, like with some STIs, you know, men don't usually get symptoms. Do men get symptoms with syphilis?
Normally you won't, so you're not going to see a discharge or anything like
You
that.
won't know.
No. You may have swollen glands around the pubic area. So you may have swollen glands, you may have, but you're not going to experience pain.
Okay.
But it's highly contagious. We have a caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Blessings to you and yours.
Good morning, my friend Gail. How are you?
I am thankful for life. And
Very
you.
good. I am great.
And I'm glad to get through today.
Yes.
And, I see you started off
with your story from Barbados. Yes.
Not only that, I mean the song first. The theme song was one of our musicians who singing that ducking.
Yes.
So I just want to tell the people doing that. I can remember years ago when I was a teenager and in my 20s, every year I would go and get my test for syphilis. You go to the polyclinics where they have the family planning nurses there where you can go and get tests. But I find that a lot of people now don't want to spare the time to just go and wait to get things checked. Just like you get your breast test and, you know, other things, you can go and you can get your test to find out if everything is okay, because some people sick and it don't show on the tongue, but you have it in your body.
Well, let me ask you, can I ask you a question, Gail?
Yeah.
Being from Barbados and living in Barbados, what do you think maybe some of the contributing factors why you're seeing this rise in syphilis now in Barbados?
Because, as I said just now, a lot of people don't go and get tested. Plus, you know, these trends, there's a lot of sex trends now. Anus sex and all those kind of things that people are engaging in. So I feel probably that may be the cause of it, you know. And people ain't going to get themselves checked. They ain't going to every year. I would go and I get different tests done to make sure that I'm okay. But you know, people just don't care. They don't want to spare time. Just go and sit down in the clinic to wait to get a test done from the family planning doctor. So now I know that since this year happened, now it has forecast they're going to be out on the road. Plus, like with the AIDS, when they have the, you know, the week for advertising.
Well, it's that's December 1st.
Well, I feel now that probably where I can recall one of the programs, and I was suggested that they probably should start testing going in the school, from primary nurses going into the school and test the teenagers and them at the secondary schools. So, I sad about it, and I feel sad that y'all are reading about it too, because I'm a Barbadian, and this is my country, but life must go on, and these things happen, and it wouldn't only happen here, but, it would enlighten the other Caribbean countries to do something about theirs. So what I can suggest on one of the calling programs, I feel it should start from in the secondary school.
Yes.
Make sure to go every month or whatever and test the children in the schools, to see if everything is happening. But to me, I feel it contributed because people know, trying all kinds of different things. And we have a preacher here, but his name is Mr. Joanne, a Pentecostal preacher, and he preaches Sunday on the radio, and he said that he read this article where in one of the other European countries, people are fighting now to make laws that they can have sex with the animals. So
yeah, that's true.
You never could tell, all these things. But I must say, I heard our song. You start with our Bajan song, Ducking. And I'm so glad that you had a sponsor. I was glad when you hear you had a sponsor because it's a very interesting program.
Yes.
But to know that it's first domestic.
Yes.
And Mr. Earl Edwards.
Yes.
It's like my family to me.
Nice.
So I'm so glad. Good morning, Earl. You and your wife, Rosamond.
Yes.
And the family, good morning to everyone. I'm so proud. I'm going to what's happening and tell him that I'm glad that he joined the team at Jolly.
Thank you.
So I'm so glad that Earl came aboard. And I just hope that everything will go well with you all. And here in Barbados now, I know that they're going to, with this thing now, they're going to put a drive vote now to ask people to come and get tested.
Yes.
But it's there free at the clinic that you can go any week there. But people probably just ain't going. But I know in my time when I was a teenager, we would go. When I say teen, I mean like 14 or 15 and 16. I mean when I leave school and started Yes, I started from that time when I had a boyfriend. And we, we will go and get tested every year.
All right, my dear, we have to run.
You take care.
Take care. All the best.
The rain cease a little bit.
Yes.
And all the best to you all.
You too.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Love you all.
Bye-bye.
All right, we have a next caller. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, my friend.
Let me just ask, are lesbians and gays, gays in general, immune
Are they immune?
to syphilis?
No, could you repeat the question?
Are they immune to syphilis?
No, they're not.
They're not immune.
No.
Once you're sexually active, irrespective of your orientation, and you expose yourself to someone who is infected already with the bacterium causing syphilis, you can get infected.
Well,
so it doesn't matter.
I ask a question because, it's very, very, very glaring that lesbianism is on the rise in Dominica. And maybe it's so because a lot of them maybe feel that if I'm a lesbian and I go for a woman, then, I'm free from all venereal diseases.
No, I think based on public health education relating to sexual health, that is certainly not they're not exempted, irrespective of your orientation.
And here's the other thing too: syphilis, like the article said, syphilis can be spread by direct contact with a syphilis sore during vaginal, anal, or oral sex, and sores can actually be found on the lips or on the mouth. So yes, it can definitely be transmitted.
Yes. All right. But Pearl, we have a next caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Morning, my friend.
I just want to ask a question. I saw, on the internet has a lot of crazy things, but where worms are coming out from different people's genital organs. And I'm trying to figure, and I saw another one where they said is there's a paracetamol 500p whatever is maybe the cause of that, and the vagina area and the penis looks very really out of whack, like growing all kind of flesh, and so I was trying to figure out whether you all have seen it and
I've seen that.
given it any
Okay.
could you give it speak to that at all,
All
this
right.
morning?
I saw the photos, and they're saying that it originated from Dominican Republic. However, because I didn't see anything from the World Health Organization or the CDC, I did not really believe it, because usually a disease that manifests itself, in that cruise, that type of way, definitely there would be some type of bulletin communication out there about it. So I just disregarded it. But Pearl, in reference to the syphilis cases on the rise in Barbados, just last month in February, you may have also read too that in Trinidad, 5 primary school children were tested positive for HIV/AIDS, and so we are seeing that the trend in STI is changing. And what is even more alarming about it is that it's affecting our productive and our pre-productive sector. Because you look at the age demographics that came from Barbados, from 15 to 47.
Right.
And that's our productive age. And not only, as Dr. Best said, there are very serious complications with syphilis, particularly carditis. You can end up having heart conditions, heart disease from syphilis.
Now, with syphilis, if left untreated, now, is it something, if it's left untreated for a number of years or a number of months, can it then be cured, or would it then manifest into something else?
Well, it can cause complications.
Okay.
So yes, it can still be cured, but it only means that more people are predisposed to the bacterium, and for the individual who has that bacterium inside of them, then they are now having vital organs being compromised by that organism.
Okay, great. So the next news item is quite interesting. Can weather affect mental health? Well, according to experts, climate change may have surprising and wide-ranging effects on mental health. Dr. Liz Van Susteren, a psychiatrist in private practice, told Live Science that climate change is both a root cause of mental health crises and a, quote, threat multiplier. It makes existing mental health problems worse. Susan Clayton, a professor of psychology, told CNN that disasters such as flooding, heat waves, and drought caused by climate change have a significant impact on the state of mind. Extreme weather has a particularly disturbing link to increased aggression. In 2013, researchers from Princeton University and the University of California, Berkeley, found that even slight spikes in temperature and precipitation increased the risk of personal violence and social upheaval. With projections that the Earth may warm between 3 and 4 degrees Fahrenheit by 2050, researchers warn that climate change is the precursor to more human conflict in the near future. Now, I found this article particularly interesting because of what happened after Tropical Storm Erica, and especially with the residents who were deeply affected by that. And what I appreciated was that the health system really went out there to kind of lend a helping hand, to talk to these people who were affected, and to also kind of give them some kind of relief, like an outlet to let out. But a lot of times you don't see the manifestations early on. It takes a while after for it to set in that, wow, I lost my home, I lost everything. And then it starts to play on the mind. We have a caller. Good morning.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Carlton. Good morning,
Pearl.
Yeah, Pearl.
Good morning.
Carlton, something I was reading on, how you call that, on the Washington Post the other day.
Yes.
Of the high rise, it looked like a new strain of bird flu is on the rise. And how many people in China is infected by it, and even in America, I think at a put, you or one of them chicken farmers have killed thousands of chicken because of the bird flu infected a lot of the chicken.
Can you tell us something about that? Please,
Okay.
because the CDC is very concerned about that.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right. Before I get to that story, I'm going to contribute to the news item. I'm going to share an example of what happened, how climate really can affect your mental health. I remembered one year I spent part of my vacation in Florida, beautiful sunshine pool. I'm in my shorts, I'm enjoying Florida, liming, and beautiful, similar weather to Dominica. And then after the week of leaving, I left Florida for Baltimore. When I got to Baltimore, total opposite. Gloom, gray, rain, and I felt depressed for the first days, at least to the first 3 days. I truly felt my brain just felt sapped, like I had no energy. And I said, well, if that's what they say people experience in England, I won't be able to live in England because this kind of weather really isn't for me.
But then,
you know,
that's interesting because you find that happening now in the mornings. It's really cold and people don't want to get out of bed. It's like, oh, you just don't have the energy. It does sap your energy. So I found it quite interesting, but more so to, natural disasters and things that really can affect an entire country. And you find that people, it takes a while longer just to kind of just get out from that kind of rut.
But Pearl, just think of when it's summertime and it's very hot and you're sleeping and your fan go bomb. You irritable all night. Mosquitoes in your ears, you're hot, you're just moody. You cannot deal with it. And I mean, when you read this, I said, this is so true. I mean, think of it really. This is really true that the climate can certainly
affect. And I do think, though, it's something that as a country we should all really be mindful of and not, forget that. We have another caller. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Carlton.
Good morning, my friend. Morning.
I hear you talking about net and whatever. Fan, that you cannot sleep without your fan because, of the mosquitoes. I can definitely advise you that the net is cheaper than the fan every way you look at it.
But the net makes people feel hot. Most people feel very hot with the net.
You feel hot because you want to sleep with your window closed. And when you sleep with your window closed and you have fan blowing, then you're just having air circulating all the time.
I know.
So sleep with your windows open, wide open, especially if you are in an elevated house. And use a mosquito net. It's very, very cheap. Thank you.
Take care, my friend.
All right, take care. So on the international scene, for the first time, doctors have tied infection with the Zika virus to possible new heart problems in adults. The evidence so far is only in 8 people in Venezuela and is not enough to prove a link. It's also too soon to know how often this might be happening. The biggest trouble the mosquito-borne virus has been causing is for pregnant women and their fetuses. Dr. Karina Gonzalez Carter, a Mayo Clinic research fellow working in Venezuela who investigated the heart cases, she said she discussed them on an American College of Cardiology press call ahead of a presentation Saturday at the group's meeting in Washington. And she said, I think as awareness increases, the cases will start to show up more. Many people infected with Zika will have no or only mild symptoms, such as fever, aches, and itchy rash or red eyes. But the virus has caused an epidemic of birth defects in the Caribbean and South America, notably babies with abnormally small heads and brains. A report last June in the International Journal of Cardiology described heart problems that have been seen from other viruses spread by mosquitoes, such as West Nile, and ones that cause yellow fever, dengue fever, and chikungunya. Carter said, though, doctors have been watching for the same from Zika. And she quoted, "We were surprised at the severity of the findings in the Venezuela cases." Carlton? That's very interesting.
You're wondering what next about Zika.
You understand?
It's like more and more you're recognizing that this very little virus that comes from this mosquito that looks around most of the Caribbean islands, can cause so many complications to a population. And not only does it, when it affects the population, it affects the cost for governments, it affects the cost for many health bodies, like the World Health Organization. They have to pump more money into ensuring that the vaccines are made and the right medications are made and
distributed as well.
Education is given. I think, you know, one of the things I would want to know about this study is that for a client who already has a cardiovascular disease, does it mean Does it mean that if you were to get Zika, that your condition can be worsened? And so I think, you know, I think it's a very interesting piece of information that's coming out from Venezuela, and I think it's one that we all should be, you know, looking closely at in terms of maybe getting further information as it becomes available.
Right, I agree. So we're going to be discussing up next common drug-to-drug interactions, which you don't want to miss. So we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
At Johnny's Pharmacy, your health and wellness is our passion. No wonder Johnny's Pharmacy provides the widest variety of the highest quality vitamin supplements and remedies for your lifestyle activity and nutritional needs. Take care of your body. Get the multivitamins advantage supply to enhance, promote, improve, repair, and revitalize your body. Johnny's for the complete line of preventative and curative health supplies and tonics. Rejuvenate with men's and women's one-a-day tablets. Boost concentration. Tricentrum Silver and omega-3s to build your immune and nervous system functions, strengthen your cardiovascular system, boost bone health. For stamina, get all your natural balanced megavites herbal supplements, men's daily formula for sexual energy and function, saw palmetto plus supplements to soothe joint pain. Feel like a dynamo, get up and go, catch back your mojo at Johnny's, Dominica's principal healthcare pharmacy. Why? Because you deserve more from a drugstore.
You're listening to Health Vibes. Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of Health Vibes. If you're just tuning in, our discussion for today are on common drug-to-drug interactions. Medications are crucial for maintaining our health, but every drug you take has potential side effects and may interact with other medications or even foods. Carlton, what is a drug interaction?
That's a good question that you've asked. I mean, a drug interaction simply is a situation in which a substance, usually a drug, affects the activity of a drug when both are administered together. So usually if you are taking two medicines together, you do not know if how they're going to compete with each other. That usually can, you know, create a drug interaction. So you could have what we call drug-drug interaction. So if you're taking, for example, paracetamol together with Warfarin, both of which are drugs, you could end up having a drug-drug interaction. You could have a drug, food, or beverage interaction. So for example, you're taking Allegra, which is a drug we use for allergies, and you're taking apple juice together with it. That in itself can be an you could have an interaction there. And then we have drug and medical condition interaction. So for example, you have a medical condition. So for example, you are hypertensive, diagnosed hypertensive, and you are given a medication like a cough medicine because you have the flu, but that cough medicine has pseudoephedrine in there. That in itself can cause your blood pressure to be further elevated. And so these are three ways or three different interactions that we normally have to deal with. But I just wanted to say, Pearl, that the medications that we take every day is usually affected by a few factors. So we have age, your weight, your sex, your medical history, the dosage, other medications, vitamins, herbal supplements, and also storage. And sometimes people don't, you may say to a client, this medication has to be in the refrigerator. If you do not have a refrigerator, take the medication, put it in a Ziploc bag, and put it to stand in a container of water. All right, that's very important in terms of the temperature at which the medication should be. Some people don't adhere to that, and then you find that it affects the efficacy and potency of the medication. And you would expect the medication to make you better, but in hindsight, it has weakened. The ensuring that your medications are covered. Sometimes people, especially the elderlies, they may tell their grandchildren, go and take my medication for me, and the elderly may not be able to open it. The child opens it and doesn't cover it properly. Then you can have what we call oxidization taking place, where the medication actually can become compromised. It may become discolorized. It may become brickled. It may lose its potency as well, because not some medications, they should not be exposed to excessive heat, excessive cold, or even too much oxygen in the environment. And so these are some things that we really want to just sensitize you on as it relates to your medication. So you want to ensure that your medication are very close, tight. Many times people buy medications or particularly supplements, and you see cotton in there, and you wonder why did they stuff cotton in there? And it's all about ensuring that the medication remains in a quantified temperature, in a measurable temperature, to ensure that it remains fresh, the potency remains, and it's not discolorized or anything like that. So we always say to people, ensure that you cover your medications, you store them well, and you take them as recommended. But Pearl, as we are talking about interactions, I'm going to talk about a few drugs. If you are listening to the show, you may want to take some notes. You may really want to get your pen and paper and write down some of these drugs, because many of them, we consume them every day and don't always know about some of the complications or drug interactions that may occur. I think we have a caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Well, yes, you said you're going to talk about it. Are you going to tell us for any particular set of drugs, what are the time difference between which you can take them?
We can do that. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to begin with vitamin C. All right. So vitamin C and oral contraceptives. So if you are taking vitamin C and you are also taking an oral contraceptive, whether it's usually the pill, we recommend that they are spaced. They are not taken at the same time, as there can be changes in the efficacy of your vitamin C. So therefore, the birth control may affect the potency or the efficacy, the way that the vitamin C would work. It would affect it. So we do not recommend that you take your birth control together with your vitamin C. If you are going to take either, what we recommend is at least there should be a 2 hours lapse. So if you decide to take your vitamin C, your oral contraceptive, as soon as you awake, then you can take your vitamin C at least 2 hours after that.
And is this partly because vitamin C is a water-soluble supplement?
Basically, what they're saying is that the oral contraceptive, because it is laced with estrogen, progesterones, the whole synthesis of it can affect the absorption of vitamin C at the same time, and make vitamin C a bit weakened. So they'll be competing with each other. And so we recommend that at least a 2 hour span should be taken at that time. Now we're going to talk about iron. So you might be prescribed iron ferrous sulfate to be taken. Usually we use iron, or iron is prescribed for iron deficiency anemia. And so your doctor may give you iron. We sometimes use it for pernicious anemia as well. But your doctor may prescribe iron for you, and you may hear the pharmacist say to you, or even your doctor may say to you, do not take it together with antacid. So yes, it's true that you may have taken iron, and then whilst a few minutes, so even half an hour after taking the iron, you feel nauseous, you feel your stomach is upset, and you rush for the milk of magnesia, or you rush for the Mylanta or the Dica, and you decide to take it together with the iron. We're saying that you should really do not do that, as the absorption of iron is going to be weakened or is going to be reduced by taking the antacid together with it. So if you are using iron tablets currently for anemia, you might be pregnant or your blood count is very low, you do not take iron tablets together with it. And dairies as well. So whether it's milk, butter, cheese, dairies as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you want to avoid taking it at the same time with your iron. So if you are going to use antacids, you should take it at least 2.5 to 3 hours after taking your iron. All right. And the iron is usually best taken. It is really better to take iron on an empty stomach. However, because of its metallic nature, it can cause irritation to the stomach, and many people cannot tolerate that, and so therefore, in that case, we would say take it with food. But for a quicker absorption rate, better absorption rate, iron is best taken on an empty stomach. But again, if you do have sensitive stomach and you cannot tolerate the side effects of the iron, it is best taken. It would have to be taken then with food whilst you're eating. Iron does the very same thing with black cohosh. So sometimes people have the notion that if I'm taking a herbal supplement, it's okay. But you have to remember that they are also substances, and so they can alter the normal function of the body. So if you're taking black cohosh, and usually women take black cohosh to balance the hormones. They use it for bad PMS, fibromyalgia, fibrosis, fibroids, a lot of these female-related complications. People use black cohosh as an alternative in terms of treatment. Let us look at warfarin, the famous warfarin, the blood thinner. I think in the research that I was doing in preparation for the show, I think warfarin is one of the drugs that, because of its very thin therapeutic index, warfarin is one of the drugs that has, it has so many sensitivity to many drugs. And so if you are taking warfarin, you definitely want to discuss with your doctor what drugs you can take with it, what drugs you cannot take with it. Discuss that with your pharmacist, because there's so many complications and drug interactions with the drug warfarin. So for example, you are on warfarin, but you like chamomile tea, and so you've taken your warfarin at bedtime, but then you have your chamomile tea at the same time. So you might even drink the chamomile tea to bring down or take down the warfarin tablet. We're saying to you that in itself is a no-no. A drug interaction. Wow. Because what will happen, it will increase your risk for bleeding. Okay, so the chamomile will increase your risk for bleeding. If you're taking chamomile as well, chamomile together with iron, it will decrease the iron absorption rate as well. So if you're taking chamomile tea and you decide to take it together with your iron tablets, it is going to cause the absorption rate of the iron to be reduced.
Okay, so in any of these cases, with the teas in particular, if I drank tea, how much time should I wait before I take a supplement?
A supplement or medication?
Or medication. Iron tablets.
That's a good question that you've asked. It depends on the tea. So particularly, for example, if you are taking a drug like warfarin, or you're taking Trental, a blood thinner like this, or Daflon, we would say to you to at least have your tea maybe 2 hours after. Okay. Yeah, you really want to.
But not before.
Not before.
Okay. Not even 2 hours before.
Well, you could do it 2 hours before. Okay. But you have to have at least a 2-hour span.
Okay.
Okay.
Because some people, what I find is some people like to take their medications or supplements right before going to bed. So they would have ingested whatever they need to throughout the day leading up to, let's say, maybe 7, 8 o'clock. And then at 10 o'clock, take their medications right before they go to bed. And then...
And that's something too, Pearl, that I really like the trend of thought that you brought in, because there are specific times that people should be taking their medications. So, for example, you are prescribed a drug like cloxacillin, and your doctor will say to you, well, you have to take cloxacillin 4 times a day. So you know that is already every 6 hours. The pharmacist would actually give you the time span. All right. There are some drugs, even if they say to you, take at nighttime doesn't necessarily mean at bedtime. All right. And your bedtime could vary.
Right.
So we always prefer to give you specific time, at least based on the release of the drug in your body at that particular time from the previous dose that you would have gotten. You should take this drug at this particular time, this specific time. So we oftentimes say to people, you could actually put an alarm on your phone that could say to you, well, it's time to take my medication. What we find happening sometimes is that an individual may have a drug to take at 6 p.m. in the evening and so happen to remember and would have taken that drug at 11 or 12 at noon, at midnight. But the next dose is at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. What would happen is that the drug is now going to have a higher concentration in the bloodstream. And so time they're ready to take their next dose, you're going to have a much higher concentration of the drug in your bloodstream. That in itself can compromise vital organ function and can even cause toxicity in the body. And so that's why the timing of the medications are very, very crucial.
Okay, I'm glad that you stated that.
Right. Now we're going to talk a little about Digoxin, and that's one that people use as well for people with congestive heart failure. That is a very good drug. You find that very common, particularly in the elderly. Digoxin. It's a very sensitive drug too, and we often say to people, whilst you are taking this drug, to try not to take it together with high fiber foods. So like wheat, like oats, or raisin bran,
even apples,
right? Weetabix, these types of things. You don't take it at the same time. So you need to at least have a 2 hours, 2 hours and a half time span from the if you're taking Digoxin together with fiber. If you're taking Digoxin with a macrolide is a type of antibiotic. So whether you're taking, let's say you're taking erythromycin or you're taking clarithromycin, these types of antibiotics, what will happen if you take it together with the Digoxin, it can increase the concentration of Digoxin in the blood and can cause some levels of toxicity or poisoning. And so these are very, very crucial. And that is why it's very important that people, when they come to the pharmacy, that they really have patience. I find in Dominica, people always in a hurry. When they come to the pharmacy, they always feel that everything is taking too long. And many times people don't recognize that medication is one error can cost you your life. The doctor prescribed 100 micrograms and the pharmacist misinterpret that and put 100 milligrams. That changes everything. And that in itself can cause death. And so these are some of the things that we have to deal with. When we get your prescription, there is so much that goes on behind the scene that you do not see and you will never understand. And so it's like a communication between your doctor and us through what is on the paper. And we have to take our time, read it. There are times we have to do calculations. There are times when we may have to modify the prescription. We may have an issue with one of the medications or the regimen on the medicine, and we have to call the doctor to verify something on there. we, based on your medical history, we would have recognized maybe that there is a drug on there that could cause a drug-drug interaction, even a drug condition reaction based on the medication that you're on, and the doctor may not know your full medical
History.
profile.
Right.
And so these are things that we have to deal with. And so we've always said to people that when you come to the pharmacy, we're not selling sweets. You're not at the market and then you're buying carrots.
Very
you know,
true.
it's really life and death. And so I think it's in your interest to
take your
really,
time.
you know, be patient with the pharmacists because of what we have to deal with that you don't always understand, and to adhere to the advice that we will give to you as well about your medication, the pros and cons, what you need to know about it, what you should know about it, what you should avoid using or taking whilst using the medication, why you must take all of the medication until it's completed. Because many times people, you know, they feel good within the first 2 days, they're taking antibiotic, the doctor may have given it for 7 to 10 days, and by the second or the third day, they stop. And then you find 5 days down the line, they end up being sick again, and they criticize and say, oh, the doctor didn't prescribe a good medicine for them. But we always say that antibiotics must be taken until they are completely finished. If you have, for example, a prescription written for 2 antibiotics and you want one, we often say to you, you cannot have one and not the other. You must have the 2. And it's because of the way the antibiotics work. Some are bactericidal, meaning that they will kill the bacteria. Some are bacteriostatic, meaning that they will inhibit the multiplication of the bacteria. And so that is why all of this information that we would have when we receive your prescription. And so that is why I would say to you, you cannot buy one antibiotic and not buy the other. You have to use the 2 of them together. So that's one of the rationales we would give.
Well, Carlton, I'm glad that you shared all this information today, especially with the clients of Jolly's, right? Because, you know, we've come to the end, and Carlton is getting ready to share with you a whole lot more information. But it's important that our listeners recognize that your pharmacist is actually the last stop.
Definitely.
Between you and your doctor. And it's imperative that we do listen to them. I've actually been at Jolly's and I've seen Carlton come around and say, excuse me, ma'am, let me explain this to you. Or, excuse me, sir, I need to explain this medication to you. And, you know, so I find that, you know, we have a great rapport with our clients and patients at Jolly's. And so we've definitely got to commend the pharmacists for that, for taking their jobs seriously. Because like Carlton said, you know, one mistake can cause death, and we don't want to be responsible.
And we also want to say too that when we do stick the auxiliary labels on your medication, we're not sticking them for decorations. We're really sticking them so that you can actually get more information, more guidelines as it relates to your medication. So the things that we may have verbalized to you at the counter, you may have forgotten, but the labels would actually give you the information that we would have given to you whilst you were in the store.
That's right.
So please pay attention to those beautiful auxiliary labels that you would have seen and you would see on your medication when you purchase medicines from Jolly's Pharmacy. Well, Pearl, we are out of time. Until next week, we will be with you for another episode of Health Vibes. We want to thank again our partner,
First Domestic,
Tong Group of Companies, for being one of our sponsors of Health Vibes.
That's right.
So I'm your host, Carlton.
And I'm Pearl Fontaine Butler.
Go out and do something productive. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're listening to Health Vibes. You were listening to Health Vibes, a production of Jolly's Pharmacy Limited.